Agenda questions. Please limit your questions at this time to resolutions under new business on this agenda. As a matter of fairness, you are asked to limit your questions to no more than one and your remarks to no longer than 3 minutes. If you are here representing a group, please identify yourself, the group, and your position in the group. If you are here as an individual, please give us your name and address. This section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes. Please specify the resolution you are referring to in your question.
Evelyn Slockbauer, 43 Thunderhead Place. N contract consulting services for the custodial services program. Could you just give a brief synopsis of what consulting services the custodial program uses?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. This is for a. Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay. That is for the services firm called Advocate. We renew them annually. We have since we have acquired an outside firm to provide custodial services for the district. They come in when we request that they do to see that Temco or whichever firm is providing custodial service at the time is performing all the duties of the contract and fulfilling the contract as stated. We have quarterly inspections that they conduct on our behalf, quarterly reports that they give us, letting us know how the firm that's providing custodial service is doing, and reports back to us and assists us when we need to make decisions.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's me again. Hello. Regina Guth, Ramapo Ridge, also negotiations chairperson for the MEA. Two questions I'd like to ask the board. One is in regards to, pardon me, can you give me some information? I think this is directed to you, perhaps, Kyle. What is the cost to the district to hire both the Effective Schools Solutions program and also the Source for Teachers program? I'd like to know if you can. If I can come back and get that information later this evening, but are you at liberty to say so now, or?
The Effective School Sources, I don't have that number off the top of my head. I do recall that in the past it may have been approximately $300,000, but I have
for
to.
A 10-month, 12-month, a year?
Before the 10th.
Yeah.
As far as Source for Teachers, you need to clarify your question a little bit as far as what the.
Well, it's an outside company for, that hires substitute teachers. So what needs to be clarified? What is the cost to the district for that service?
Well, it varies depending on how many times we need to have them come in. So are you asking what the daily rate is for a substitute, what the Source for Teachers cost is on top of what the substitute cost is, or what it was for the year?
If that's how it's structured, then yes.
Yeah, that is how it's structured. Again, I recall that the cost for a substitute is $95. There is a fee on top of that takes care of some of the FICA, workman's comp, and tax purposes that goes to Source for Teachers. What that dollar amount is, I'd have to look up and get back to you.
Do you know what it cost the district last year by any chance?
Not off the top of my head, no.
More than $300,000, which is what the Effective Schools was?
I'd have to take a look and see.
Okay. My follow-up question to that, and anybody can answer this question if you know the answer. Is there any data that the board has accumulated as far as Effective Schools is concerned, as far as the effectiveness of that program is? We've had it now at the high school, I think a few years. It's been at the middle school a couple of years. And the staff is wondering, how and why is this good for kids?
I believe we do have information about that. It is something that we take a look at and meet, I think, probably quarterly throughout the year, and it's something that Ms. Rizzo does, so I'm sure we can put something together.
That would be terrific.
Sure.
And the same is true of the Source for Teachers. I'm not exactly sure if you're getting your money's worth. Let's just put it that way. There's a lot of issues that we're hearing from the different work sites as far as no subs showing up. And so it's something that gets discussed in the course of a day. just twice this week it happened in my own realm, so we're wondering, is it worth the cost? And so,
We're currently following,
Yeah.
We're currently following up with Source for Teachers because we've been hearing that, in terms of absence of teachers not being filled by Source for Teachers. So
Yes, that's
So
right.
we're looking into that, and to discuss effective school solutions. We've seen many successes through this program, but we'll give you some hard data, but I mean, I've seen some of those students do some incredible things as a result of their services.
I think there'd be a lot of different, varying opinions on that.
Oh, absolutely.
And we in the trenches, we see what is happening and what isn't happening, Okay,
Perhaps,
yeah.
Regina, if you could, what would be helpful is if you could too share what it is that you're hearing as you are in the trenches and we aren't.
Just that there doesn't seem to be, it doesn't necessarily seem to be meeting its purpose. I've worked with some students myself who were enrolled in that program, and it just seems to be more trouble than it's worth, perhaps.
Maybe we can talk.
Yes.
Maybe this isn't the forum.
Very
but
good. Well, I
think
brought it
that-
up because it's on the agenda.
No, I mean the forum for you just to be able to give me some insight.
Yes.
About what it is that you're seeing, which
Yes.
is very valuable
Yes,
to us.
okay.
So as we put together what we have and some of the information that we can do, maybe you can give me a call along the way.
Sure
And let
thing.
me know what you're hearing, because I think if we put that all together, perhaps we can move forward in a different direction or change what we believe is a successful program. But if it needs to be altered somewhat
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to meet the needs of the kids best,
Right.
then having your insight would be helpful to us.
Very good.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Superintendent's report.
Super, thank you very much, Ms. Barron. Good evening, everyone. Just a couple of things. The first is a real big thank you. And it goes out to our teachers and our administrators and our IT staff for what I'm hearing and what I believe is another successful administration of our PARCC testing this year. And you don't test over 2,000 students in a test like this without the coordination of many efforts. So I want to say thank you very much to all of you out there, those who aren't here, and certainly to our IT staff who, from what I understand, was where they needed to be, when they needed to be there, and got things fixed as quickly as possible, so thank you. The second piece this evening is Resolution 15R. It's dedicated to a name that may be familiar to a lot, and that's Mr. Deptula. Even in retirement, Mr. Deptula was awarded the Distinguished Service Award from the New Jersey Administrator Supervisory Business Officials Organization. That award is given to one business administrator in Bergen County every year. He was awarded that, and along with that recognition, and I'm sure some kind of certificate he could put on his refrigerator at home, also comes with a $1,000 scholarship, which Mr. Deptula contacted Kyle and said, would you please be kind enough to formulate a scholarship for a student going into the music and arts for the class of 2017. So on behalf of all of us and publicly, a real big thank you to Mr. Deptula, who was really into the music and arts, and I think that some student will absolutely benefit from that next year. So that's Resolution 59. So a real big thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Flicker.
Just one item to report this evening. Just a few weeks ago, New Jersey School Boards did release candidate information and packets for anybody who is considering to be a candidate for the Mahwah Board of Education for the 2017 year. The election date is going to be November 8th, 2016. Any candidate or anybody that would like to be a candidate can find out more information on the New Jersey School Board's website, or if you can contact my office, I can share that information with you, tell you where to go. The one date to have in mind is the deadline for filing a petition is 4 p.m. on July 25th, 2016, and that filing will be done not with the Board of Education, but in Hackensack with the county clerk. So that information for the those on the board as well as for the public.
Thank you.
If anyone has any questions, they're more than welcome to reach out to myself, and I'm sure any other board members will be willing to share that information with you. Thank you. Mr. Fair.
Sure, this will be short. We're currently in the process of hiring for all staff members in all of our buildings. Hopefully by the next agenda, we'll have most of those positions filled. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, my report this evening. I'd like to congratulate Mahwah High School sophomore Justina Kender for being accepted into the 2016 All-State Jazz Band. She will perform with Jazz Band this November in Atlantic City and at NJ PAC. And then congratulations also to the Mahwah High School Symphonic Band on a wonderful performance at last night's spring concert. All the ensembles sounded great, and the band definitely brought their A game. The band's masterful rendition of composer Bruce Yurko's piece entitled Night Dances No. 2, under the guest direction of Mr. Yurko, was absolutely stunning. Kudos to Jeffrey Bittner for his unwavering dedication to our students and on completing another fantastic year. I'd like to mention that Mahwah math teacher Nancy Glazer, Juniata College alumnus, and her husband Carl received honorary Doctor of Humane Letters degrees at the college's 138th commencement ceremony this past Saturday. Glazer, a Phillipsburg, Pennsylvania native, has been a Mahwah teacher since 2002, and she is a math specialist for grades 1 to 3 in the Mahwah School District. She started her career in education immediately after graduating from Juniata. Glazer soon specialized in teaching deaf students and those with communication disorders. She earned her master's degree in communication disorders from Penn State University in 1981, and she was also a special education lecturer at Boise State University from 1983 to 87. So our heartfelt congratulations go out to Nancy and her husband. On our agenda, Resolution 15P. The Board of Education accepts and thanks the Grace Zeffo family for the donation of a double bass instrument to the Ramapo Ridge Middle School Orchestra program. Thank you very much. Then this past Saturday, I attended the New Jersey School Boards Association's annual delegate assembly, at which we were presented with 6 resolutions from various districts for inclusion in the New Jersey School Board Association's Manual of Positions and Policies on Education. All board members will find copies of the resolutions along with the action taken in your folders. And also included in your folders for review is the Highland Park Board of Education's Park Resolution that was presented to the New Jersey School Boards Association and passed with an 85% approval rate by the delegates. Thank you very much. And then I just have 3 more little things. This is the longest report I've had since I've been here. Mahwah High School nominated for Metro Awards in Theater Arts by Helen Hayes Theater. The High School Theater Awards were created in 1998 to shine spotlight on the exceptional musical theater productions, talented actors and actresses, and devoted creative teams who take to the stage every spring in our local high schools. High schools in Rockland and Westchester counties in New York and Bergen County and New Jersey are invited to participate in this competition. Congratulations to the Pitt Orchestra for their Metro Award nomination as the Best Orchestra for a High School Musical Production, as well as Matthew Redko for his Metro Award nomination as the Best Male Featured Dancer in a High School Musical. And the Mahwah Boys Lacrosse, they are division champs. Congratulations to the boys varsity lacrosse team for their 14-6 victory over Wayne Valley on Monday, May 16th. The offense was led by Donald Magner, who tallied 4 goals. Brian DePaulo and Brendan Lenu, Brendan, each had 2 goals and 2 assists. The defense was anchored by Dylan Hernan, Dean Manieri, and Jack Wood. With this win yesterday, the team cinched the 2016 Crucio Division Championship. Great job, Coach Humphreys and all the players. And last but not least, the girls lacrosse team wins the league title. On Wednesday, May 11th, the Mahwah High School girls lacrosse team beat Saddle River Day 20-12 to secure the Independence North League title. Taylor Herman tallied 6 goals, 6 assists. Kelly Pushy had 6 goals with 3 assists. And Nicole Constantino had 3 goals and 3 assists, with goalie Kenneth Scandell recorded 10 saves. Congratulations to Coach Girardi and the players for earning the #1 spot in their division. Okay. Do we have any board committee reports this evening?
For policy, we have the second reading and adoption of 4 sections. You have 24, 30, 31, 31.2, and 54.60.
Thank you.
We had a meeting tonight with a representative of our healthcare benefits advisor. They presented to the negotiating committee and also the members of the MEA. That was consistent with the conversation we had back from the March 31st session that said we wanted to try to do some things to get more education going about what the healthcare plan design and options were. I was delayed, so I'll defer to Doug or Michael or Rick if there's anything else they want to add. about the session.
I think it was a constructive meeting with the advisor. We have a good overview of what the plan offerings are, and I think we had a very productive meeting with the advisor. The plans are somewhat complex, but we all agreed that some education on the plan offerings would be valuable to both the members and to the board. And there'll be further action sometime in the fall on this.
Thank you.
And we're meeting tonight after the session to go through some analysis that Kyle's been doing for us, again, coming out of our 331 session, and we'll see where that takes us next.
Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you. Board member remarks and additional comments on non-agenda items. Any remarks from anyone this evening? Thank you. All right, old business. May I have a motion? Minutes, Mr. D'Angelo and Ms. Conoco. Second.
Ms. Curry?
No, abstain.
Abstain for both minutes.
Yes.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Denise?
Yes on 14A, abstain on 14B.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes on both items.
Ms. Conoco?
Yes.
Mr. Salderini?
Yes.
And Ms. Barron?
Yes. Now I have new business. I'd like to take A through U. And I have a motion to move that. Mr. Gallo and Mr. D'Angelo. Any discussion? Okay. Call, please.
Ms. Curry?
Yes.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Denise?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Ms. Conoco?
Yes.
Mr. Salderini?
Yes.
And Ms. Barron?
Yes. Next, I'd like to take new business, A through N. I have a motion to move that. Ms. Conoco and Ms. Curry seconds it. Any comments or discussion? Okay.
Ms. Curry?
Yes.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Denise?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Ms. Conoco?
Yes.
Mr. Salderini?
Yes.
And Ms. Barron?
Yes. Okay, this portion, public questions or comments. Note this section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes.
Evelyn Slockbauer, 43 Thunderhead Place. At the last meeting, unfortunately, I couldn't come because I was driving to Pittsburgh, but I know Linda brought to your attention about creating a resolution against using park. I would like to second that opinion. I do not see that there's a need for testing children in every grade. The gap year testing was fine for benchmarks, whatever, but I don't see the need for the park testing to be done every year. As a parent, I feel like it's taking instructional time away from our kids. And I talked to Mr. Pascal about this at the HSA meeting, that if my child is in an honors or an AP class, I would rather have them in the class than sitting to take a mandatory test. So I know, up until 2019, it's not mandatory. They're proposing that it's mandatory for the class of 2020, which is my son's class, which is why I'm very involved in trying to get this changed, because I think it's the wrong direction to go. I think that with the No Child Left Behind and everything that happened after that, it does not improve education. You can test, but unless you put programs in at the classroom level, you can test to your heart's content, it's not going to make a difference. Okay? So I would like you all to consider putting together a resolution.
Thank you. I do want to let you know that we did take Ms. Mavrish's recommendation. We have a resolution that we're going to be reviewing, and at our June 8th meeting, we will be discussing that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the public?
My name is Lynn Mornowek-Fold.
I'm a teacher at Mahwah High School in my
Would you just see
19th.
if that's on, please? I don't think that it is.
Try that. Oh, that. I'm awake now.
I just thought other
Lynn
people could
Mornoweg
hear.
Folt, teacher at Mahwah High School in my 19th year. I teach choir and AP Music Theory. My question actually pertains to a PowerPoint presentation that was given on April 20th when I was here the last time. But before I ask the question, I want to put it in a little bit of context. I currently contribute $9,300 a year toward health insurance, which is nearly 10% of my base salary. Since 2010, when contributions started, I have contributed more than $22,000 to my employer-provided health insurance. In the same period, I have moved up 5 steps on the salary guide and over 1 column to the highest level of education, which is Master's plus 60. Theoretically, I should have seen a significant increase in my take-home pay from those steps and that column shift. But each year, and I've gone back and done all the math, approximately half of the raise that I received went to, in take-home pay. Wait, but I lost my place. Half the raise that I received was consumed by the increase in the insurance payments that I was making. Yes, I am making more money than I was 5 years ago, but when you take into account the cost of living increases and the payments for health insurance, I, like many Americans in the past 10 years, feel like I'm running just to stand still. This brings me to my question for you. I was somewhat surprised to learn on April 20th that the Mahwah Principals and Supervisors salary guide has gone up almost 3%. This was one of the slides. Almost 3% in each of the past few years, while the teacher's guide increases have been much closer to 2.5%, sometimes 2, sometimes 2.7, 2.8, but we'll call it 2.5. Considering that the principals and supervisors start at much higher salaries, their 3% raises net them much larger increases in take-home pay than the 2.5% raises that the teachers do get, especially after health insurance contributions are deducted. So as we're seeing in society at large, the gap between those at the top and those at the bottom gets bigger and bigger every year. Given that the board is limited by the 2% tax cap in the state of New Jersey, do you believe that it is fair that a greater relative proportion of resources continue to be given to those at the top at the expense of everybody else? And have you given any thought to how district salaries could be made more equitable over time and not less equitable? Any thoughts?
Appreciate your question. I don't remember the slide that you're referring to exactly, but I think that the salary increases that you're speaking about with respect to the supervisors and the principals.
Speak up, please.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I'll start again. So it's a good question. Thank you. I don't have the slide in front of me, but what I think we did was we reflected the raises that are contracted for each of those two groups for the forward periods that are covered by that contract.
It was
So,
teacher's guide and the supervisor's principal's guide, one slide. It had, I believe it was a 4-year period. Michael remembers, apparently remembers
It's
this.
exactly as Chuck said. There was the three out years that had, oh,
I can't hear you.
sorry. It was the 3 out years, sorry. It's the 3 out years that we showed the supervisors and administrators in the 3 out years with the 2.9 raise, not retrospectively.
Oh, so it was side by side with the last 4 years of teachers.
Correct.
But then the next 3 years of supervisors.
Correct. And the point of the slide was to basically show where we think pay trends are going within our district. So that was the real intent.
For both teachers and administrators.
So then your goal would be that the teachers would be getting 3%? But see, my point is that when you start the supervisors and principals, when they get 3%, it's a whole heck of a lot more take-home pay than a starting teacher, which I'm not, getting $50,000 a year and they're getting 2.5% or something thereabouts. The gap is
Yeah,
just...
there is no disagreement between us about the fact that there is a difference in the distribution of the monies that are represented by the pay raises that we're talking about.
Okay.
The meeting that we're having after this, again, going back to the session that we had on the 31st, is basically looking at an analysis about, to try to gain some insights as to how we address that or fix it.
Okay, so you are looking into trying to make it more
Yeah,
equitable and...
Well, yeah, I mean, we have a, that's a good way to say it. Let's say we have a problem of our own making, in the sense that there's a salary guide, and the salary guide is typically adjusted and negotiated within each contract period.
Right.
That's typically done in conjunction with representatives from your unit, and they used to have this person at the NJEA who was also involved, and I think they still have a person like that. So there's a process that basically reviews how the pay raises that are approved by the contract and the board are then distributed among
Well, yeah,
the
no, I
membership,
understand
right?
that the guide is worked out
Right.
afterwards. Do you happen to know, since that slide was not the same time period for both units, does anyone know what the supervisor principal's raises were in the same time period that we're talking about
Yeah, I mean,
historically?
those contracts are all public, so we can certainly get that and have it available for you. I mean, the raises that we presently have in the latest offer are competitive with other high-performing districts in and around the area. But again, the problem, I think, is not in so much the raise percentage itself. The problem is in how we are getting it distributed, and whether or not that distribution system, in an environment where you have members who have been contributing an increasing percentage of their healthcare premium through this 4-year phase-in, and who are bumping up against the top of the guide, that's a problem that we have to address, and Kyle started the analysis for us. We're looking at it tonight. I mean, we're serious about trying to find a way to get to something that is, frankly, well, I'll say for myself, more logical. Like, you know, we should be able to figure that out. There are some complexities, as you well know, because you don't just have vertical moves, you also have horizontal moves.
Right.
But in relationship to that, and the committee can chip in here anytime they want, but we spend a lot of time when we're in committee thinking about different ways to create different income opportunities for different parts of the membership.
Okay.
I mean, I think because we have two problems, right? We've got the 2% hard cap, and so when we're above the hard cap, we have to find a way to offset the difference with other savings in other places.
Yeah.
Problem one. Problem two, when we resolve to a number, we have to find a way to distribute that number in a way that actually makes people feel good, especially in light of the fact that there are healthcare premiums to now consider. Problem three is in finding a way to help people realize that there are different price points associated with different healthcare plans without we as an employer saying you have to only have that one. So we were talking about that before the meeting tonight, which is how do we do that? And it's complicated. I mean, straight up, it's a pain in the butt. I mean, there's multiple plans. They have different deductibles. Some things are easier to understand than they used to be. Some things still require some trade-off. And we have to find a way to inspire people to sit down and say, you know, how many potential visits to the doc do I think I'll have? And help people figure out that there are some savings that can be gained without losing, I want to be careful about how I say that, without feeling like the healthcare benefit plan is something that is radically less. So we got all that in our session, plus some out there ideas that the administration sometimes wonders where we came from.
Well, I hope to see equity in the future between the different units, or greater equity. Okay?
Long answer to a short question, but
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Mike Doris. I teach at Mahwah High School. I just wanted to say something about Park.
I do not fear standardized tests. My students just took the AP statistics exam last week, and I'm very confident that they did well. But when I'm set up for failure and my students are set up for failure, I can't sit by and not say anything anymore. Is the board aware what % of the standards the test covers, let's say in Algebra 2 Park? Okay. The test covers 90% of the standards. Is the board aware of when the Algebra 2 or the Park was given at the high school this year? It was given before the end of the 3rd marking period. Our students are being set up for failure, and I would appreciate it if the board would make a comment to the State Board of Ed on that issue. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Hello. Regina Guth. Thank you, Chuck, for your extensive explanation of your perception of what's going on as far as negotiations are concerned. I don't want anybody standing in this facility tonight to walk away from that explanation thinking that the only obstacle to negotiations is a salary guide. That's not the obstacle. We've lived with our salary guide for many years. We are very familiar with the problems with our study guide. I'm sorry, salary guide. Oh, long day. Yes. Now I just lost my train of thought. Yes. Okay, so that is an issue. It always has been. But the MEA's position is very simple. Yes, there's money in the district. You have a lot of money that you're not willing to part with. And until we have some discussions about how we can get past that obstacle, I don't know what we're going to be doing, okay? Because we have tried to fix that salary guide over the years. We've had success in some years. We've had superintendents assist us over the years. That's not the issue. It's not the issue that we're paying, I mean, it is an issue that we're paying into, we're increasing our pension contributions, we've increased our health contributions. We're not unwilling to do that, but I don't want anybody on this board thinking that, oh, it's a salary guide, that's the problem. That's not the problem. It's part of a systemic problem from where I stand, when I look at what we've been doing, what we've trying to accomplish in the last year, okay? So I just wanted to clarify that. It's beyond the salary guide, okay? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much all for your comments and questions. Make a motion to adjourn, please. Mr. D'Angelo and Ms. Hurley.